Let me give you a clear example. You're in a tough season at work. Mistakes are piling up. Your boss is keeping a close eye on you, and you feel like a failure. One mindset reaction goes like this: I'm terrible at this. I'll never improve. Maybe I'm not good enough. That's a fixed mindset, a self-imposed trap of doubt and doom. But what if you consciously changed that inner narration? What if you thought instead, I'm learning. Every mistake shows me what to improve. This pressure is helping me grow. That's a growth mindset, and it instantly turns adversity into opportunity. The Stoics believed in this kind of transformation. 2. Every challenge is a moment to practice virtue, patience, courage, resilience. Seneca famously said, difficulties strengthen the mind, just as labor strengthens the body. Each setback, each moment of discomfort, is actually training ground for your inner strength. Think of your mind like a muscle. Without resistance, it doesn't grow. You need stress mindfully applied to build mental resilience. But here's the catch. You need to guide that stress with awareness. So how do you start? It's easier than you might think. 1. Monitor your inner dialogue. Become aware of your self-talk. When you hear thoughts like, I can't do this, recognize them. Label them for what they are: fear, doubt, or old habit. Then choose to respond with a new thought: I'm learning. I'll try again. Over time, this rewiring becomes automatic. Ask yourself, is this thought helpful, or is it holding me back? That question creates space between stimulus and response. 2. Anchor in the present. Much of our suffering comes from mentally reliving past failures, or worrying about future outcomes. But the only moment you truly control is right now. When anxiety hits, pause and ask, what can I do right this moment to move forward? Then take that tiny action. It often breaks the panic and reminds you, you're capable, you're here, you've got this. 3. Reframe challenges as fuel when difficulties arise. Ask, how can this serve me? Maybe criticism helps you grow. Maybe a delay opens an unexpected door. Instead of seeing obstacles as enemies, treat them like weights in a gym tools. To build your mental resilience, this practice doesn't ignore reality. It reorients your response. You begin to feel grounded, composed, able to face uncertainty with confidence. Together, these practices help you swap fixed patterns for growth-focused thinking. You start to respond to life rather than react. You shift from being at the mercy of circumstances to becoming the navigator of your internal state. And the results ripple outward. Your work improves. Your relationships deepen. Your self-trust strengthens. You stop letting anxiety hijack your creativity. And you begin to notice solutions where before you saw only problems. Transition to next section. The next part will explore how to take these mindset shifts beyond thinking and into daily rituals. Because true growth happens when fresh habits reinforce fresh perspectives. Stick around, you're about to learn how to embody this resilience in everything you do. Just as mastering your mindset helps you respond instead of react, developing patience brings you back to what truly matters by honoring the natural pace of growth rather than forcing it. Patience is one of the hardest virtues to practice, especially when you're chasing an important goal. You've put in the effort, followed the plan, done everything right, yet nothing seems to happen. It can feel deeply frustrating, can't it? Everywhere we look, society tells us success should arrive fast. The instant world around us makes it seem like if we're not getting immediate results, something must be wrong. But here's the fundamental truth. Life doesn't conform to our schedules. It follows its own rhythm, and trying to force it ahead often leads to burnout or disappointment. The Stoics understood this better than most. Epictetus famously said, no great thing is created suddenly. Think about what that means. Anything truly valuable, whether wisdom, skill, or success, takes time to develop. You know you can't rush a seed to sprout. You can't speed up a tree's growth by pulling on its branches. And the same is true for your dreams. You can't pull life's branches to hasten success. It arrives when you've grown into it. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a young artist, filled with passion, pouring their heart and soul into each creation. They wake early, work late, and breathe their craft. But recognition doesn't come swiftly. The world stays silent. At that moment, what choice do they have? They can allow frustration and self-doubt to crush their spirit and quit, or they can trust the process, knowing every brushstroke, every failure is quietly preparing them for what's ahead. Those who endure, persist, and continue growing, they are the ones who eventually make their mark. We live in a culture obsessed with immediacy, fast food, fast results, viral fame. We've been conditioned to believe that if something doesn't come quickly, it's not worth our time. But many of life's most meaningful experiences demand time. True relationships, deep personal growth, genuine skill mastery. These aren't fast lanes, they're slow, winding paths. Socrates once said, "To do is to be." Real growth is found in the process, not just the destination. If you're constantly asking, "When will it happen?" you miss who you are becoming in the meantime. That transformation, that character building, happens only when you're fully engaged in each step, even the invisible ones. But let's be real. Do you stay patient when every day feels stagnant? The Stoics would guide you like this. Focus on what you can control. You can't control the timing, but you can control your actions. You can keep showing up, refining your skills, asking strong questions, and expanding your horizon. You can keep growing as a person, even if no one's cheering yet. And above all, you can trust. If something is meant for you, it will come, not a moment too early, not a moment too late. Accepting this timing is not passivity, it's power. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together." Instead of resisting life's rhythms, learn to embrace them. If your dream hasn't arrived yet, perhaps there's something inside you: wisdom, resilience, preparation that still needs time to emerge. You're evolving into the person who is ready. How to practice patience daily. Start with a ritual. Take a few deep breaths each morning and set your intention today. I will trust my pace. Set process-based goals, not outcome-based ones. For example, write for 20 minutes. Instead of finish the chapter, notice your resistance. When impatience surfaces, ask, what am I missing in this moment? Celebrate invisible progress, an improved mindset, a calmer reaction. They matter. When you align your mindset, your presence, and your pace, you begin to move through life with purpose, not panic. That shift isn't small, transformative. Transition to next section up. Next, we'll explore how to embody this patience, not just in your bigger goals, but in your daily habits, because real transformation is built one mindful moment at a time. Stay with me. You've already come so far, just as patience kept you grounded in purpose. Now it's time to explore how your energy shapes what you attract and the pivotal difference between chasing and embodying calm confidence. Have you ever noticed that the more desperately you chase something, whether it's a job, a relationship, or even a dream, the more it seems to slip just beyond your reach? It's almost as if the universe senses your frantic, needy energy and instinctively steps back. But when you act with calm confidence, with presence and purpose, everything starts to flow naturally. That distinction between chasing and attracting is both subtle and powerful, and it's rooted in mindset. The ancient Stoics understood this principle deeply. Epictetus captured it beautifully. First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. In other words, before you act, be clear about why you're acting. If you don't know what you stand for, your actions become reactions. When you act out of desperation, driven by fear of missing out, fear of failure, fear of not being enough, few scatter your energy. You apply for every opportunity, even ones you're not passionate about. You pursue validation rather than alignment. That chaotic energy repels it, pushes chances away. But now imagine the alternative. You step forward with calm resolve. You know your talents, your values, Your purpose. You apply selectively. You speak with confidence. You show up consistently, without the buzz of anxiety. Your energy becomes magnetic. Job scenario. Panic versus purpose stake. To individuals on a job hunt, person A feels desperate. They apply everywhere, often to roles they don't really want. Every rejection becomes personal. Their mindset is frantic and unfocused. Anxiety leaks into their interviews. They may land a job, but is it right for them? Person B is purposeful. They know this upset. They research companies they genuinely want to work for. Each application is intentional. Each interview an opportunity to learn and grow. When they get rejected, they take lessons and move on. Their energy is calm, confident, and undeniably attractive to employers. Which path leads to a job that fits and to a person who thrives in it? Relationships, attraction versus clinging. This applies just as clearly in relationships. When you approach people out of desperation, fear of loneliness, or lack of validation, you often end up with relationships that drain you, because you're communicating neediness more than connection. But when you show up grounded, secure in who you attract healthier, more authentic connections. People lean toward your light, not your shadow. Your purpose becomes a beacon rather than a grab dot, living with intent. Aristotelian eudaimonia. Aristotle spoke of eudaimonia, flourishing life, aligned with virtue and purpose. He wrote that happiness isn't about chasing external validation. It's found in aligning your actions with your inner values. That means acting with wisdom, integrity, courage, letting the outcome take care of itself. When your actions are anchored in your values, when you're guided by purpose rather than panic, you make better choices. You conserve your energy. You leave behind what doesn't serve you. And in doing so, you begin to step into who you're becoming, not just what you're pursuing. Chess example. Reactive versus strategic moves. Picture a chess game. The beginner flails, making frantic moves out of fear, uncertainty, or impatience. The master plans calmly. They see the bigger board. They strategize with skill and intention. Life is no different. React from fear, and you create chaos. Act with strategic purpose, and you inch closer to your vision, one careful move at a time. Shifting from desperation to purpose, to begin living with calm intention. Try these practical steps. Clarify your why. Ask yourself, am I doing this to truly build and grow, or just to avoid feeling bad? Real honesty creates alignment. Slow down. Breathe. Panic rushes. Purpose moves with breath and stillness. Give yourself permission to pause before deciding. Trust your inner wisdom. You don't need to micromanage the future. When you act in alignment with your integrity and vision, opportunities naturally emerge. Let go of imaginary fears, Seneca said. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of our desperation comes from hypothetical worries. What if I fail? But these scenarios rarely play out. Let reality guide you. Why this shift matters. When you act from purpose, your energy becomes magnetic. Your presence becomes centered. You make choices that honor you. You stop chasing and start attracting. You save energy for what actually matters. You align with growth, not fear. And over time, clarity becomes your magnet, confidence your compass. Transition to next section. Next, we'll take this concept from mindset to practicality. How to build daily rituals and routines that reinforce this calm confidence and help you live this way, not just think it. Stay tuned, because this is where transformation turns into habit. Just as we've explored how purposeful action attracts what matters, now it's time to embrace something even deeper. Freedom, through letting go and realize that everything works best when you stop trying to control it all. You are stronger than you think. And nothing truly meant for you requires desperate scrambling. Move with calm intent, with confidence, and watch how life aligns in ways you never forced. Have you ever felt exhausted trying to organize everything? You plan, you strategize, you push, but somehow reality still refuses to match your expectations. It's frustrating, isn't it? You try to make people behave a certain way, to line up circumstances just right, to predict every possible outcome, yet you often end up more stressed, more helpless than ever. The harder you grip, the more the world seems to slip through your fingers. Here's the paradox. The moment you release control is when life begins to work in your favor. Stoic wisdom, freedom through release. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." True freedom, then, doesn't come from bending the world to your will. It comes from letting go of the need to control, holding on to external factors, opinions, outcomes. Timing drains your energy, but focusing inward on your thoughts, actions, responses allows you to reclaim it. Take relationships as an example. Have you ever tried to change someone, maybe a friend, partner, or relative? You want them to be more understanding, kinder, more like you. But despite your best efforts, they stay the same. Why? Because people aren't ours to control. You can express, you can set boundaries, you can decide who stays in your life, but you cannot force someone else to change. The moment you release that need, freedom begins. You stop fighting against who they are and allow space for real connection. You're no longer frustrated or exhausted because you're no longer investing in influence you don't have. Effort versus control in pursuit of goals. Same holds true for your ambitions. Many believe that if they just push harder, they'll speed up success. But there's a crucial distinction between effort and control. Striving toward your goals with dedication and focus is wise. Worrying about every tiny detail, timing, fear of failure, disbelief in yourself builds resistance. Seneca even said, "Fate leads the willing and drags along the reluctant." When you struggle against life's natural flow, you create unnecessary tension. But when you put in the work and release obsession with outcomes, life begins to support you. Doors open, timing aligns. You find yourself standing in places you planned for, sometimes more easily than you'd imagined. Interview example, confidence versus anxiety. Imagine this scenario. You're preparing for an important job interview. You've researched the company thoroughly, practiced your responses, and polished your presentation. At this point, you could walk in with confidence. But you start overthinking. What if they ask a question I can't answer? What if I blow it? What if they don't like me? Suddenly your energy shifts from confident to anxious. You walk in tense, and that tension shows. The room feels colder. Every question feels like a test. You stumble before you even begin. Now imagine this. Instead, you acknowledge what you can control: your preparation, your presence, your calm breathing. You let go of what you can't: the interviewer's mood, their decision, the unpredictable curveball questions. You walk in relaxed. Your voice is steady. You show up as yourself, and outcomes, whatever they may be, no longer define your worth. How to reclaim your power, to truly embrace this shift from struggle to these simple practices. List what you can and can't control when stress arises. Ask yourself, is this within my control or not? Then redirect efforts toward what is controllable. Your actions, attitude, effort. Use your let go pause when anxiety or fear starts to spiral. Take a deep breath and mentally whisper, "Let go." It's a reminder that you're choosing presence over panic. Anchor in purpose, not panic. Revisit your purpose before action. Let your direction come from alignment, not desperation. Set intentions for what you will. Bring patience, clarity, kindness rather than focusing on what must happen externally. When you stop spinning in circles of fear and expectation, and begin choosing what to focus on: your beliefs, responses, presence, you reclaim your center. That's true freedom. Transition to next section next. We'll take this freedom and turn it into daily habitual actions you can build into each day that reinforce your strength, surrender, and center. You'll learn simple rituals and reflections that anchor this mindset in your life. So not only do you think differently, you live differently. I'll see you there. Just as we learned that trust in yourself and release of control opens doors. The next layer is embracing abundance, releasing scarcity mindsets, and stepping into the flow of opportunities already around you. You don't need to overthink every move. Doing the work and then letting go is your superpower. Feeling tense and doubting yourself only impairs your performance. But when you pause, take a deep breath, remember that you've prepared and release your grip on the outcome. You walk in relaxed, present, and far more likely to succeed. How to start letting go of control? 1. Know your circle of influence. The Stoics taught the dichotomy of control. Some things are in your power, some are not. Energy spent on what you can't control leads only to frustration. Point 2. Practice acceptance. Life doesn't always follow your plan, but that doesn't mean it's broken. Detours can guide you to richer destinations than you ever imagined. 3. Build trust in yourself. Even when things don't go as expected, trust yourself to handle what comes. Your resilience is stronger than you think, and it grows with each experience. The abundance mindset. Have you noticed people who seem to effortlessly attract success, opportunities of genuine happiness? It's not luck, it's mindset. Their way of thinking, their self-presentation, and their way of viewing the world cultivates a reality where abundance flows naturally to them. On the flip side, those fixated on what they don't have tend to struggle endlessly, no matter how hard they work. It's not about luck, it's about the energy you bring. Epictetus captured this centuries ago. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. True abundance isn't measured by what you own, nor by achievements or acquisitions. It's found in realizing you already have what you need to live a fulfilled life. When you step out of a scarcity mindset, believing you'll never have enough, you actually make space for more to enter. Imagine this. Two people enter the same room at an event. Person A is fixated on their lack. They notice every difference between themselves and others, comparing constantly. That heavy energy permeates their posture, tone, and silence. They walk away feeling unseen, unheard, and with no real connections made. Person B carries a quiet confidence, a belief in enough skills, enough value, enough possibility. They move with calm energy and open curiosity. Conversations flow, doors open, opportunities reveal themselves. The difference isn't skill alone, it's mindset. Scarcity versus abundance. Abundance beyond money, it goes far beyond finances. Abundance affects relationships. Believing there are loving people means you're open to new bonds. Happiness. Trusting joy is possible and accessible, even in small moments. Time. Feeling there's more than enough time reduces overwhelm and cultivates presence. Believing there's never enough time, never enough love, never enough peace locks your brain into seeking proof of that lack. But shift your focus, and you'll see abundance everywhere. Kindness. Moments, support, small miracles. Psychologist William James once said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes." Scarcity mindset programs your brain to scan for deficiencies. Change your attitude, and your brain begins scanning for abundance. How to begin? Notice your scarcity triggers. When you feel anxious or jealous, pause, ask, is this fear or fact? Practice gratitude daily. Before bed, list 3 things you already have, big or small. Affirm abundance. Choose your mantras. I have enough. Opportunities are all around. Take purposeful action. Acting aligned with abundance. Sharing your ideas. Leaning into generosity reinforces that mindset. When you operate from abundance with calm trust, intentional action, and an open heart, you stop chasing shadows and start inviting opportunity. Success, fulfillment, peace, they begin to gravitate toward you. Transition to next section in the next part. We'll explore how to weave abundance into your daily routines. We'll build simple yet powerful habits that anchor your mindset, help you not only think abundantly, but live abundantly. Ready to take the next step? Let's continue this journey. Just as embracing abundance begins with shifting your mindset, the next transformative step is learning how to solidify that change through gratitude, trust, and aligned action. Your new reality to unfold naturally and effortlessly. The power of perception. What you focus on grows when you practice gratitude, carry confidence, and cultivate trust in life. You begin to authentically perceive abundance. This isn't magic, simply perception. Whatever you focus on expands in your experience. Picture this. Two musicians with similar talent and ambition. The first musician lives with a scarcity mindset. They believe there aren't enough opportunities in the industry, or that the competition is too fierce. Each rejection echoes their fears, reinforcing their beliefs. They play it safe, avoid risks, and miss out on potential breakthroughs not for lack of talent, but because their fear holds them back. The second musician, however, embodies abundance. They view rejection as redirection and challenges as chances. To grow, they take audacious steps, network with clarity, and keep pivoting purposefully. Eventually, their success isn't about luck, it's about their mindset, manifesting opportunity. How to embody abundance in your life. 1. Start with gratitude. Begin each day by focusing on what you already have, big and small. Rather than lamenting what's missing, cultivate appreciation. Gratitude sends a signal to your mind and the universe. I already have value, and there's room for more. When you appreciate what's present, abundance tends to follow. 2. Act as if you have enough, even if uncertainty or doubt lingers. Carry yourself with calm confidence. People who move from a place of abundance believing in their inherent worth radiate a completely different energy. Open, poised, magnetic. They are more likely to attract opportunities and connections, often because they believe they deserve them. 3. Release attachment to outcomes. Believe wholeheartedly that what is meant for you will come not by force, but through alignment with your actions and beliefs. Letting go of outcome anxiety doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're letting life meet you precisely where you are. Have you ever zeroed in on a goal and hit a wall? Even though you followed every step to the letter. You pour in the effort, you hustle hard, yet it feels like pushing a boulder uphill. Frustrating, right? We've been conditioned to believe more effort equals guaranteed success. But there's a crucial lesson. There's a distinct difference between aligned action and desperation. The dichotomy of action, aligned versus desperate. Seneca, the wise Stoic, said, effort and patience will achieve more than force and anxiety. In a culture obsessed with the grind and non-stop hustle, endless pressure, real success doesn't come from frantic effort. Instead, it's born of discernment, stepping forward when it feels right, then pausing confidently when needed. That's how progress happens. Imagine pulling on a stubborn knot. The harder you pull, the tighter it gets. The same thing happens when you force anything in life. Results tighten and opportunities shrink. It's similar to trying to fall asleep. The harder you force sleep, the more elusive it becomes. But the moment you release the struggle and relax, sleep arrives effortlessly. Life goals, growth, they work exactly the same way. A farmer's wisdom: plant, water, trust. Think of a farmer sowing seeds. They prepare the soil, plant carefully, water consistently, and ensure enough sunlight. And then, they wait. They don't dig up seeds daily, anxious over missing growth. Instead, they trust in time and natural rhythm. Your life mirrors this process. You do your part, prepare the groundwork, take aligned action, then step back with trust and let maturation occur beneath the surface. Real life example: 2 approaches to a big goal. Imagine preparing for a major career shift. You research, study, network, and apply. But then, approach A: You spiral into panic and choose that results aren't immediate. You obsessively refresh your inbox, double-guess your resume, and lose faith with every unanswered email. Approach B. You systematize your efforts, apply daily, follow up confidently, and then shift focus back to building skills or relationships. You resist panic even if it's hard. You trust the process and remain open to unplanned detours. Approach B naturally attracts better outcomes, not because you're luckier, but because your energy aligns with possibility. Why scarcity limits you? When you operate from you'll never have enough. Your mind becomes a scanner for losses, failures, and what's missing. That energy manifests. Frustration festers. Confidence wanes. Opportunity feels distant. But when you embody abundance, gratitude, trust, clarity, you begin to see support in unlikely places, small wins. You've previously overlooked, opportunities hidden behind closed doors. Psychologist William James said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes." Belief in abundance shifts both perception and reality. Cultivating abundance. Daily practices. Start each morning with gratitude. Name 3 things you already have that bring richness: relationships, talents, experiences. Repeat an enough mantra. Silently affirm, "I have enough. I am enough." Repeat throughout the day to center your energy. Take aligned action. Move with strategic intent, not frantic urgency. If a task feels forced, pause and reevaluate alignment with values. Reflect before reacting when anxiety hits. Is this scarcity or fact? Respond from alignment, not from scarcity, by embodying an abundance mindset through gratitude, confident presence, intentional action, and trust. You stop chasing shadows. Instead, you invite opportunity, create space for growth, and live with clarity and generosity. Lead into next section. Next, we'll anchor these mindsets into daily rituals, practical habits that turn mindset into lifestyle. You'll learn how to ground each day in presence, alignment, and openness, ensuring this isn't a passing insight, but your new way of life. Stay with me is where ideology meets everyday impact, building on how aligned action creates space for true abundance. Now let's explore how letting things unfold at your own pace, whether in relationships or career, brings out your quiet power and clarity. Patience isn't passivity, it's presence with purpose. Have you ever noticed the difference between someone who's trying too hard and someone who's simply there? Picture a person who texts constantly, seeks reassurance at every turn, and seems almost desperate for connection. Their energy is heavy, and it creates pressure, often pushing people away. Now, imagine the person who shows up calm, confident, and genuinely interested. They listen, engage, and then give space. That relaxed presence doesn't require effort, it attracts. They are appealing because they align their actions with their values, without forcing the outcome. They show interest, but don't suffocate the situation. That's the beauty of taking aligned action and then letting go. Letting go in your career. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right in your career? Networking tirelessly, submitting every application, hustling day in and day out, yet the results simply don't show up. If you've tried controlling every aspect without seeing progress, you're not alone. Here's the reality check. Sometimes what's meant for you unfolds with its own timing. Instead of panicking, what if you trusted that your work is strong? What if you focused on deepening your skills and nurturing real connections, then allowed opportunities to appear naturally when the time was right? That doesn't mean you settle, it means you shift from frantic control to purposeful engagement. That shift where your actions are intentional and then released is the essence of aligned action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do what you must, and let what happens happen." In that one sentence, he distilled the Stoic path to living: deliberately controlling your inputs, not obsessing over results. 3 steps to practice aligned action. Right now, get crystal clear on your goal. Define what success looks like for you. What skills do you need? Who do you need to connect with? Then prepare, train, learn, put in the work even. If the payoff isn't immediate, let go of the wheel after. You act once, you've done your part. Resist obsessing over how fast or in what form the result appears. Accept that timing isn't always yours to command. Trust your resilience, not the outcome if things don't go according to plan. You'll adapt, you'll pivot, you'll learn, and that adaptability is your path forward. In fact, detours often yield the richest growth. When you master aligned action where self-mastery trumps external control, you shift from chasing outcomes to flowing with life. That is where real strength.com resolve and quiet confidence live. Real-life relationship example. Let's revisit our earlier scenario. One person is anxious, calling and texting constantly, needing validation to keep the connection alive. That needy vibe actually repels potential closeness. The other person, they're grounded. They show up. They laugh. They listen. Then they step back. They let the rhythm breathe. That kind of presence doesn't beg, it beckons. People naturally lean into that kind of energy. And relationships develop with ease and depth. Real life, career scenario. Maybe you've prepped, polished, and pitched yourself endlessly, yet still received no response. If you keep chasing, checking, and overanalyzing, you lose energy, you clamp down. Instead, imagine this. You've prepared everything to the best of your ability. Now you pause. You continue to learn, to network, to create, but without gripping at the next notification. You open space for opportunity. And when it comes, you're not in reaction, you're in readiness. That confidence, that calm, becomes your magnet. Daily ritual to make this second nature morning intention. Start with, I will act with alignment today, and release the outcome. Midday check-in. Ask yourself, have I done what's in my control? Can I step back now? Evening reflection. Journal, what progress did I make? Where did I cling? What will I release tomorrow? These simple reflections keep you moving forward without gripping. When you learn to act with intention, then let go with trust, you begin to experience genuine co-creation with life. You stop exhausting yourself with false control, and instead, you invite creativity, resilience, and deeper connection into your journey. Transition to next section. Next, we'll transform these insights into sustainable habits, daily routines that embed aligned action, quiet confidence, and trusting presence into real life. These rituals aren't just inspirational, they're transformational. Stick around, your daily revolution starts now.